Are you tired of seeing your electric delivery fees being even higher than your electric usage fee? I sure am. Today I got my electric bill, looked at it, and freaked out. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Now, I want you to know that I'm not creating this video here to blame anyone directly. I just want to help you folks with some of the solutions. That's what we have this channel for, to help you to be more self-sufficient. This time of year, it happens to be the electric, and in the summer, with having healthy foods by growing your own. But this is a big problem. So let's go ahead and talk about it. First of all, what is a delivery charge? The delivery charge isn't about electricity being brought to your house. It's the cost of maintaining the entire power grid. Things like maintaining the lines, cutting the trees around the line so they don't cut out the electricity, meters, everything that keeps the lights on. So the thing is, even if you use less electricity, that part, the delivery, really doesn't go down that much because it costs pretty much the same to maintain the electric grid. But there are things that you can do about it, and that's what this video is about. Things that you can do about it, whether you own your own home, which there's a lot more option, but even if you live in your own apartment. So let's go ahead and talk solutions. Now, the solutions let's start with the people who own their own home, okay? I spoke about how to cut your electricity in half a couple months ago, and since then I've gotten a lot of comments that will really help with this video. If you have your own home and you can get a pellet stove put in, pellets burn cleaner and often they're more efficient than traditional wood stoves. Now, another one I just found out about that I didn't know anything about before is called a masonry heater. And I understand that you would either buy a house with this or you can have a mason come in and build one for you. And it lasts a long time. It radiates heat slowly and it's very warm. Wood stoves. As many of you know, I think I mentioned before, we're renting right now, but we're looking for a house. And as soon as we do, whether it has a wood stove or not, it's going to have one. Now, wood stoves can burn wood. Some of them can burn coal. I used to have one many years ago. It was a wood coal burning stove. Coal burns longer, and we're able to keep the heat going all night long. And now they have these wood pellets. I don't know much about them, but a lot of people are raving about them. If you use a wood stove and use these pellets or coals, let me know your experiences in the comments. That'll help me as well as a lot of our viewers. So a wood stove is a great thing to have, but again, you're going to have the proper ventilation. As we're looking for houses, I really like these log cabins up in Maine where everything's open, a big cathedral ceiling, and the bedroom is in the loft, or everything is open to that one room. If I could find something like that, the wood stove will really help to heat the entire place. Heat fans. I've showed you in some of my videos. They have these fans that run just using heat, no electric. You could take one of those and put it on your wood stove or your wood cook stove. There's another idea. And it will circulate the heat throughout the house. Thermal curtains. Okay, I use these in the house. Matter of fact, I have some right over here. I have thermal curtains going into the kitchen, and I have thermal curtains going into the other rooms here, and we'll talk more about those later. There's infrared space heaters, okay? Infrared space heaters can help. Now, yes, they do use electricity, but this is more like, I guess you could say spot heating. If you're in this room, you could put one and have it heat you rather than the entire room. So if you're just using it for a little while, it can save you energy. Now, here's another one I didn't know that much about, but I guess there's portable, indoor safe propane heaters. Now, these are propane heaters that are rated for indoor use. They have protection for tip over, and they even have sensors that'll let you know if the air is not safe to breathe. So you might want to look into those. And I imagine they even have some of these that will connect to propane tanks outside. But most of these, from what I understand, use those little, I think they're 1 pound propane containers. So that's great for house dwellers, okay? Like I said, I'm an apartment dweller and I can't wait to get a house because with all the things I teach here, with all the other ideas I have we're going to be cutting down on our electric bill considerably. So let's talk about apartment dwellers. And also, I want to talk to you about probably some of the things that I do here. But before I get started, okay, I built a lot of heaters here showing you different simple ways to heat your greenhouse, heat your garage, emergency heat in the house. Now, most of them are open flame, and I'm not going to use them to supplement the heat in my house, and I don't think you should either, okay, because they need to be monitored. They need to be only used when you're in the room. They're emergency heaters, all right? You have open flames, and a lot of them put off dangerous fumes. If you knock it over, like we have a Maine Coon cat, if she jumps up on a table and knocks it over, you're going to have quite a mess. Okay, so let's talk about things that don't include flames. One is heavy blankets. They're simple, they're effective, and they keep things warm without using fuel. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, underneath the desk here, I have an electric blanket that I got at Job Lots for like $20. I have it folded up and I have my feet on it because the garage underneath our apartment is not heated. Okay, so it gets pretty cold on the floor. Another thing you could use are those draft stoppers. They're like little snakes filled with cotton or whatever's in them, and they put them at the door jamb below doors. I have one here and one on the other side. You want to be careful. Middle of the night when you open the door, sometimes you'll trip over them, okay? But make sure you have a light when you're walking through the house. Window insulation. Most of my windows have that plastic, I guess you can call it insulated, so clear plastic on them. You can get those little kits, plastic kits at Walmart, at Ocean State Job Lots, at Home Depot, pretty much anywhere. They come with double-sided tape that you put around your window, then you spread your plastic onto the tape, and then you heat up the plastic with a hair dryer so it makes it really tight. If you look out most of my windows, you wouldn't even notice there's plastic there. But they make a big difference in stopping drafts. Even right here, I used to feel the wind coming in because I get a big picture window right behind the computer. I used to feel the wind hitting my legs. Now I don't. I only have to deal with the cold coming up from the floor. A lot of you might have carpeted floors. If not, you could put rugs down on the floor. That will help. Now, I don't have it. This is a carpeted floor, but I have one of those big plastic things so I could roll my chair under the desk so it still gets cold. That's why I have the blanket on top of that. You can layer clothing like I have right here. I have Snoopy, for those of you who like Snoopy, but I wear a coat. It just helps a little bit. It's a very light coat, and it makes a difference between shivering or being comfortable. Another one is those small ceramic space heaters. Okay, yes, they are electric, but like I mentioned before, they're small. Okay, so if you're in the bathroom and the bathroom is really cold, you can just plug it in and just to heat you for a short time where you are, which will really help. Now, other things that we do personally, we partition our house. I was telling you about the curtains. Actually, over here, I have those magnetic curtains. So you go through them and the magnets catch and it makes it go close again. I need them because while I'm here, my cat will probably go in and out 2-3 times and it'll stay open. All right. So that's why we got the magnets. We have them in 3 different areas. I partitioned the space between this, which is our living room and my office, this space and the kitchen, which is very big. So I also have another set of curtains on the front door. When you come in, there's a little foyer or a shed. Okay, so you just walk in the house, and then the door that comes into the kitchen, that one is partitioned with 2 sets of curtains, the magnetic one and another like a quilted curtain. Makes such a difference. Right now, it's probably 70 degrees in the kitchen, but if you go out beyond the curtains, it's going to be about 35 degrees. That makes a big difference there. And beyond this curtain are 2 rooms, and they're both storage rooms that we're not using. So partitioning the rooms off like that makes a big difference. Then we have the oil-filled heaters. I have one, like I said, behind me. There's one in the kitchen that's on a lower setting and one beyond this door, which is the bedroom. And that one we turn way down. Actually, I turn it off each day when I get up because those things shouldn't be on 24 hours a day. And then I turn it on a couple hours later at low. And then at nighttime, that one goes up and the other ones go down. We heat the rooms that we're in and the others go very low. And when we're ready to work at 6 or 7, if the kitchen is too cold, we run the shower and we put that on hot and let that run for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And that will put humidity in the air and it will heat up the kitchen pretty quick. So that makes it nice. Now, someone mentioned to me in one of the comments that you want to be careful when you have plastic wrap and there's, everything is sealed off and you have that kind of humidity, it can cause mildew and this kind of stuff. And at first I was like, yeah. Well, it did in the front room. So again, ChatGPT, what do I do about mold and mildew? And he'd help me out. He said, go ahead and clean it off right away and run a fan. So the problem is that wasn't any circulation. So I run a box fan in there in the morning for about maybe half an hour or so. And one in this room, even though it's far away from the shower, it still does the windows get wet once in a while. So that dries everything up. The front shed did start to get a little spots of mold or mildew, whatever that stuff is. And we clean that up with a strong solvent and keep it dry now so it hasn't come back. So just something to keep in mind. Other than that, besides the heated blanket under my desk, I also have one of those heat pads that you use for your back. And that one, sometimes I'll use it at the chair if it's really cool and it makes a difference. But at nighttime before going to bed, we throw it under the covers, put it crossway. So when you lie down, you're at least on one warm spot. And really, it does make a difference. And one of the biggest and my favorite thing that I saved for last is when I'm sitting in the recliner watching TV, Mitsy jumps on me, our big long-furred Maine Coon cat, which is a great warming device that uses no electricity. But it does cost money to feed her. So that's what we do. I hope that helps you with keeping warm yourself. If you have any ideas, leave them in the comments. I always love reading your comments. I try to answer as many as I can, or at least give you a thumbs up or a heart. And please do subscribe because it does help us to grow. And I really appreciate it. So with that, be sure to keep warm, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye now.